This is the reason why. Again, I mean, I get these are the 5 reasons, but this right here, the sound of it, oh, bro. Now, if you come in here, you can see this gigantic muffler. The muffler's huge, it's ugly. But you take that muffler off, you need to put on a Porla, an Isis, maybe a Meister shaft, and this thing comes alive. So I feel like the potential of this car, the sound, the raw sound of the exhaust. Bro, come on. Definitely number 3 right there. Number 4.
I didn't know they had that. Bro, I didn't know they had that shit, bro. I ain't talking, nigga. That's YouTube.
I mean, let's be honest. My other car looks identical. Literally. It's a 328i. Same exact body style. I love the look of this car. Now, of course, there are a few little differences. Fender flares, wheels, exhaust, things like that. But if you come around to the front here, you can even see BMW now, they have cheeky little back. They put the front end from the coupe onto the sedan just for the M version to make it look even more aggressive, which I think is just a genius idea. Again, the overall shape of it, from the flared fenders here, the beautiful, I mean, again, guys, I love this bumper so much, I threw it on my non-BMW. So, let's be honest, man. I saw the car and I just love the look of it. I'm sorry, it's one of the best looking cars ever made. Fight me. Number 5. Very simple. The way she drives. I'm telling you. From the way from the way it steers to the way it puts the power to the ground. This car just delivers the entire package. Now again, let's be 100% honest. This might not be the fastest car on the road. Okay? It's a V8, yes. But it's a small V8. 4 liters, revs up to 8,200 RPM. It's just glorious. Now again, you're going to have to rev it all the way out. It's not the most torque. It actually has the least amount of torque of this generation of cars, especially nowadays. With the turbochargers in the cars, I mean, this thing would get dusted 0 to 60 by an F80 M3. But that doesn't matter. It's the sound. It's the way it puts the power to the ground. That linear power curve goes all the way up. I mean, it just delivers a perfect driving experience. I guess that's why they call it the ultimate driving experience. They're not BSing you when they tell you that. So I just think, again, number 5, the way it drives, the way it moves. I mean, again, 235i guys, I love you guys. I really, truly do. But, and yes, you guys are faster in a straight line. Take these things, compare this to a 235i in a canyon, in some corners, on a track, and you will feel the difference. You will feel it. Because 335i's and 328s have the same exact suspension. This has a whole EDC package. And let's even talk about the EDC. With the press of a button, you can go ahead and put it from normal mode to sport, all the way to a suspension setting that is so tough, I wouldn't even use it on the street. I mean, you're going to feel every single bump. But I just love the fact that you have a very customizable, interface here. Press the M button. You're able to get more direct steering, have better throttle response, completely customizable. The way it drives. The way it drives. You're going to have to get behind the wheel at least to understand what I'm saying. But either way, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. And just kind of going over the car with me. Again, E90 M3s. A very, very underrated car. But beautiful in its own right. Again, from all the way to the beginning. Number 1, that motor. Number 2, that power bulb right there. Number 3, the sound of that exhaust. Number 4, the subtle shape of the car. And then number 5, simple, the way it drives. So those are my top 5 reasons. But please, I'd love to know if I missed anything. Please let me know in the comments below. If there's some things that maybe you don't agree with me, again, I'd love to talk about it in the comments. So please, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell so you can actually keep in contact with me. Make sure to hit me up on my Instagram as well. Check out the last few videos we post up on the page. And again, thank you so much for going on the journey with me in my E90 M3. speed, and we slow down, we come to a stop, we start hearing that. I'm like, oh no. Oh no, oh god, no, that's a knocking. I hear knocking. And that's not the front door, that's knocking, something's wrong. My 2008 BMW M3, yeah, it was my dream car for a long time. It's okay now, but this is not about now. This is about when I bought it. I bought the car back in October of last year. Buying it was one of the best days of my life, right behind getting married, because that probably goes first. But it was just one of the best days of my life. I bought it at CarMax, and that was my first mistake.
CarMax talks about CarMax, you are wrong, okay? You are just wrong.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
We all know the controversy of cars. We've heard how they'll undercut you when you try to bring your car in to get it priced. We've heard that they'll sell you, hunks of garbage cars, right? Lemons. That's like their bread and butter. They love selling lemons. Well, who would have thought that my dream car was a lemon? I remember the day. We literally found it and bought it in the same day. Now that's never smart. Don't do this, okay, please. Learn from my mistakes. But the story goes like this. So I'm on AutoTrader, and my buddy Roberto, who's filming with me right now actually, we were looking at E90 M3s for months at this point. But like I mentioned, I've wanted one of these for years. But this particular day, it's my wife and I, and I'm looking at cars on AutoTrader as always. Most of the time I'd be just dreaming. Oh, one day I want this car. One day. This was the day I found the perfect car. It was in Fort Collins, Colorado, which was, of course, way out there. I live in California, Los Angeles. So it'd be a flight, okay? Now, your boy had hookups at airlines, so I could have probably got a nice little free flight over. But either way, I was okay with that. I just probably put it on a truck and ship it back to Los Angeles. No issue. So I'm looking on AutoTrader. I find this car. It's black. It's 6-speed manual. It's a pre-LCI, so that means it's a 2008 model. And it's perfect. And it's low miles as well. I think it was about 67,000 miles, so it's a jet. So I go ahead and I give them a call. I say, hey, look, guys, I'm really serious about this car. I want to put like a little deposit down, come take a look at it. So I put a $500 deposit down just so I can come out and take a look. I went ahead and talked to a finance company, talked to them personally, actually. And they were like, hey, unfortunately, we don't finance people that aren't in Colorado. So sorry, you're going to have to figure out something. Like, okay, what do we do? And look, man, we'll try to go through our finance company and see what happens. Give us your credit score and we'll just take a look. Well, my credit was terrible. I'll be 100% honest. My credit was terrible. So, of course, they said, nah, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen, sorry. So maybe if you get a co-signer, we can work it out from there. So, I went ahead and talked to my mom. My mom had a quick no to get back to me. So, I'm over here depressed. And I'm like, well, there goes my dream car. That's it. No more. Game over. Well, luckily, here's the thing. While I was, cursing out my mother.
Good afternoon, boys and girls. Shut the fuck up.
Well, I was, mad at my mother. My mom and I were arguing back and forth. My wife finds this little car here. And this car was in Riverside at a CarMax. And we go right back to CarMax again. Here's where the bullshit began. Now, this car here, this was, again, same year, also with 4-door, pre-LCI, as you can see, 6-speed manual. The only difference was, this is Jerez Metallic, or Jerez Sport, which has a hint of blue in it. Only when you get close. Far away it was black, but you tend to blue. And the real difference was, this actually had about 17,000 miles less than the one in Fort Collins. This is only a 40,000 mile car. So I'm like, ooh.
Now, you can't spell nutrition without nut.
Yeah, so, of course, I'm like, I have to go take a look at it. It's local, Riverside, about maybe, what, an hour drive? It's perfect. So I'm like, okay, less miles, shorter distance, let's go check it out. Now, the problem, the first car I was looking at was around 27,000. This was around 36. So I'm like, well, if I got denied for that first loan, I don't know if this is going to work out. So, my genius self, I decided, you know what, maybe I'll just put a big down payment. Maybe they'll just say, sure, yeah, come on in.
I just felt dumb.
So my crazy ass, I told them 10 grand. I said, I got 10 grand on this thing. And, you know, they can't deny that. So the guy's like, oh, are you kidding me? Come on in. Of course, they don't want that payment. They want that money. All right. Take a few shots. But that's okay. Look, I'm being honest. So I swing down there. It takes us a good hour and a half to get there. We walk in. I take a look at the car. Now, online it was labeled black. And technically, Jurassic Schwartz is black, but I get close, I'm like, wait, this is blue. This is blue. I said, wait, there's a little bit of a dent on this hood panel here. What's going on? I said, look, man, I'm sorry, but this is a non-negotiable price. We're CarMax. We don't negotiate. Okay? Well, what are we going to do about that dent there? Oh, don't worry, we'll take that off for free if you buy it. Like, you know what? Let's just go on. Test drive the car. It's perfect. It's the first time I'd ever driven anything like that. I was sad. I was freaking out. So, unless the car caught on fire, I was buying that car. Which, so many terrible decisions in this story. We get back inside, and they say, so you want to put 10 grand down? Is that what I'm hearing? I'm like, yes, sir, you are hearing that correctly. That was not a mistake. I do want to put $10,000 down on this car. Now, I know the car costs 36. So we should have pretty low car payments, correct? He's like, well, I'll be honest. I already got told that, buddy. I already know this. So what can we do? Can we work something? And the guy said, look, we're going to have to set it up like this. Blah, blah, blah. Look, the paperwork goes through. I buy the car. I buy it. Oh, I'm freaking out. I'm literally freaking out. It's like I said, other than this, it was the best day of my life. The best day of my life. So, the drive home, I'm just regretting everybody heard it. I'm just regretting. I'm like, heck. I cannot wait to read this thing. Now, we get it home, and, you know, again, I'm ecstatic. Now, for those that don't know, PC90 XM3s, and to be honest, 60 and 5, they have a huge problem with their drive bearing. That's an issue. That's a really big issue. They're just not up to par. And they go incredibly quickly. Now, they tend to go between 80 and 100,000 miles. Well, I was in luck, right? That's a 40,000 mile car. What's brand new? You thought! 1 month later, a single month. Now, a fun month, but a single month later, I'm letting my buddy drive the car. Of course, I like to blame my buddy deep down, but it really wasn't his fault. We're on the freeway, I tell him to get on, he gets on, and we're going up to speed. And we slow down, we come to a stop. We start hearing that. I'm like, oh no. Oh god, no. That's a knocking. I hear knocking. That's not the front door. That's knocking. Something's wrong. And my buddy's like, oh, I think it's a rod bearing. No, God! No, God, please, no! And I'm like, no, there's no way. Please, God, no way. Because it's like, I have 40,000 miles. This is a brand new car. This can't be happening right now. Well, literally the next day, I'm like, I'm not playing. The next day, I took the BMW dealership close to me. And, yeah, they said, hey, look, we got some bad news. I said, no. No, just please. It was your rod bearings, buddy. It's your rod bearings. They're gone. They're toast. And not only that, there's metal shapes inside of your oil. What the fuck? No, it's my dream car, man. I had it for a single month, man. Like that was a rough few months for me. But those that follow me on Instagram, they know. God, that was so kind of little bitch. I was heartbroken, man. It was like my M3 right there, and they do take it from me. Thank you, CarMax. Thank you. So of course, you know, we want to get back into I'm talking about like NXT versus OG1. We fight. And, well, let's just get into it. So Carmack, of course, didn't want to claim that it was their fault. They say, hey, look, you must have done something wrong. I mean, we're not taking care of it. Oh, but I forgot a very important detail about the warranty of Carmack. Like, so Carmack is, I mean, they're trash. But the one thing that they've got going for them is their warranty. Always get their warranty by a Carmack. That was where I actually lucked out. Because, of course, like I said, Carmack was not trying to take care of any bills. They said, no, you did this. This was on you. So, of course, I'm like, hey, look, you guys have a warranty. You guys, I bought your warranty. I've been paying for it, at least for this 1 month. And so, no, regardless of how soon, how quickly this might have happened, this might have occurred, this is on you guys. So, I'm talking to BMW. BMW said, okay, look, we're going to keep your car here. But we're going to go ahead and take care of this as soon as we can. But what we need you to do, we need you to approve a teardown on the car. So I'm like, a teardown? Like, wait, hold on. I said, so you want me to approve a teardown, which will cost what? $3,000? So yeah, about $3,000. So $3,000 teardown, and I don't even know if I'll be covered? Like, I don't understand. He's like, look, man, that's the only way you can do it. So that car was sitting in there for a while. While I was arguing back and forth with BMW, like, hey, look, I don't want to approve this teardown before I know that this warranty will cover it. Because it's coming to $3,000 plus the extra money. Well, I didn't even tell you guys, it was $25,000. $25,000. I need a brand new motor, a brand new S65. So they said, look, that's the only way, because the engine's toast. So I said, look, that's $28,000 right there, and that's without labor. So, I mean, this is nuts. We might even go to the car. We battled for a full month, and I gave it. I said, you know what? Look, I'm just gonna go ahead and you can't give in. You can't give in! Let's approve this teardown. Let's just pray that they come out and actually approve this warranty for me. So we waited. I waited about another 5-6 days, almost an entire week. So the car's been in there for a month and a week already, 5 weeks. I'm like, what is going on? So finally, I get the good news. They say, look, we're gonna go ahead and approve of your warranty. We're going to go ahead and take care of everything. Except for the spark plugs. You have to pay for those yourself. I'm like, sure, buddy, those are what? $50 a pop? I mean, no big deal, right? So, took care of the spark plugs myself, but other than that, guys, $5,000 came out of my warranty pocket. So I'm happy. I'm happy next. But it didn't actually end there. Now, turns out, while they ripped open the engine, they said, hey, we might as well let's take a look at your clutch. See how that looks. Oh, well, actually, your clutch is, it was toast. So, it was really bad, guys. The dealership said, look, either you drive it out like this, you got a brand new motor, but you got a terrible clutch, or you just go ahead and take the clutch. Now, the warranty was already maxed out at this point. They said, no, we've already paid you $25,000. We're not paying you any more dollars. This is on you. I'm like, damn, I've driven this car around for a month. That must have been the last owner. So obviously the last thing he probably didn't know how to drive stick. Maybe he who knows? To be honest, the Carfax looked fine. There was no previous issues with the clutch. But regardless, I went ahead and paid it out of pocket. And that was about, as I remember, after labor, about $4 grand. So that was a little bit of a bit. But either way, I'm like, you know what, guys? I have a brand new clutch, I have a brand new motor. Why not? Let's just go for it. So we get the car back. Finally. It must have been 2 months. 2 months. I finally get my car back. I'm like, yes, I can have fun again. No joke. Get the car back, and the next day, I'm trying to go to work. Bring the car to work, and I spent a little bit, but the car doesn't turn on anymore. No, it's dead. Completely. So I'm like, no. What's going on? What's this? You know, I thought this was a dealership. I got to do what you were doing. I said, okay, well, we'll go ahead and take it back. Should be no problem. Take it back. Take it back in, and they said, oh, sorry, buddy, we didn't wire the battery up properly. Are you guys like M-Division mechanics, or no, sorry, we don't have those. We just have regular mechanics. These guys, you know, they change tires, oil, and now they had to do a motor swap, give them a break. I'm like, come on. I mean, whatever. I said, you know what? That's over. So I get the car back the same day. The next day, after I get the car back, I look in my garage, and yeah, there's coolant all over my garage. Yeah, from the M3. There's blue liquid everywhere. I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. I gotta be kidding me. I mean, this is nuts. So I'm like, okay, look, I gave you a shot. And you guys said that we can take care of it. We've got this. But no. You guys messed up again. So no joke. For the second time, I take it back in. I said, look, there's coolant all over my garage. What's the deal? And they tell me, sorry, look, we'll take a look at it. We're gonna have the car for about a week. Are you serious? Are you serious? So, you know what? That's fine. They have it for an entire week. And at this point, I'm so upset, I can't even remember what the problem is. But it was some stupid thing. Roberto's chasing crows. Every time I leave the street, I hear. No. It's working, too. Hey, they left. Regardless, it was their fault. They paid for it. And then I get the car back. And at this point, I'm just like, I don't know what to think. These guys clearly don't know what they're doing. And it's just scary. I just dropped a lot of money for this car. And the last thing, these pros, I apologize. The last thing I need is to have my car in the shop more than it's, in my 2 hands. You know what I'm saying? So, regardless, I get the car back. I am not kidding. 1 week later, I'm driving. I'm minding my own business. What's that smell? I started smelling electric, burning, like wires burning. I'm like, oh no, that's got to be the car next to me. It was a movie. It has to be that Volvo over there. My apologies. But it was not. That was this car.
You freaking prick! When will you learn?
So I'm like, this is for the 3rd time, guys. This is for the 3rd time. So I take it in, and I'm mad. I'm like, you know what? No. I go to a different service advisor. I want a different mechanic. I'm like, look, that's it. I've had it up to here, okay? I'm tired of this nonsense. I've tried with you guys. You guys are my local dealership. I don't want to take it to another dealership because the next one is probably a good, maybe 45 minutes away in Long Beach. I'm like, I don't want to deal with it. So guys, can you please help me and actually fix my car properly? They go, I'm so sorry, sir. Look, we'll take care of it. So, long story short, they had a car for another 2 weeks. I finally get my car back, I believe at the end of February. And all's good. All's good so far. But let's cross our fingers right now. Knock on wood. There's no wood in here. But cross your fingers that this nonsense doesn't happen again. Because, my dream car turned into my nightmare. In the end, what did I end up with? Well, I ended up with pretty much a brand new car. 0 miles, a brand new clutch, and all for the nice price of about $40,000. So it wasn't cheap, but I'm a happy man. Because my dream car ended up turning, into my nightmare. And it kind of turned back into a dream. I don't know if that's a thing. I don't know if you guys have night terrors, but that's what it felt like for a minute there. Regardless, guys, look, here's the point of this video, guys. I worked for this for I can't tell you how long, okay? This brand really doesn't pay the bills, but I'm a happy man regardless because I at least get to enjoy life, right? I get to have fun, film, talk with you guys every day, drive this ridiculous beast around, and I'm just happy. What it comes down to is always make sure that you just keep chasing whatever you want to chase, you chase until you get it, and you just don't let anything get in your way. Okay, because CarMax really tried to give it to me hard. They really did. The dealership was also doing me dirty. But I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to let that shit stop me. I'm just going to keep fighting. I could have just jumped out of it, sold it, and just said, you know what? Screw it. I don't want it anymore. But that's not what's going to happen. Okay? So here we are. We're coming out the sunroof of this M3 here. And I couldn't be happy. So thank you again, guys, for taking a look at this video. Now you know the real story of this broken M3. But either way, guys, thank you so much. Make sure to follow the page, follow the Instagram. Thank you so much to One Firepower Productions for filming this for me today. Make sure to check out the last 2 vlogs we filmed. Those were ridiculous. Please go take a look at those. I'll listen.
Bust that nigga ass.
It's so bright out today.
It is. Unable to connect to Sony car audio. Alright, we'll leave it. We're not connected. Oh! And what up S6?
That's a clean S6.
You know,
And I almost said that Margo. It's
was that the color?
I think it's also Monster.
Elamos is like dark, right?
Interlagos is like a darker, lighter blue.
And LSD is bright.
Yeah.
Lamons is darker.
Yeah.
And then Elamos is just like
It's like at midnight. I know.
look black at night. Black at night!
What's up, YouTube? That's all I can say with me.
I thought you were just taking a big breath.
No. I was getting excited.
I didn't realize you were recording.
Gibbs, tell them what we're doing.
We're on our way to work.
That's one thing.
That's it.
That's one of the things that we're doing right now.
That's it. The second thing,
What's the second?
big ass fingers. New car.
Today is
Here.
finally the big day. I'm going to. No, it should be. Between 9 and 12 or 9 and 11, I get my car delivered to the showroom at my work, and I figured that instead of me driving my car and then having to drive 2 cars back somehow, I'm gonna have Gibbs drive my Audi today. He's gonna drop me off, and I'm crossing my fingers that when we get there to my work, that the truck is already there. 4 weeks of waiting. 4 weeks. The car's finally here. I mean, it took long enough to get it, and it's the big day.
Sorry if I'm late, boss.
Sean gonna watch this.
No.
I bet you will. Gibbs.
I'm seeing 4-door BMWs everywhere.
They're everywhere.
I mean, I see them every day. So.
I haven't told you guys what it is yet. You guys have to wait and see.
Get ready.
Fuck.
Prepare. I'm excited. Even though it's a little early and I'm like a little bit tired, I'm really, really excited. I can't wait to go see the car. I saw pictures last night from JP Logistics, and I'm just like, I want to see the car in person so badly.
What did it work?
What's in? I gotta pause this. Copyright.
So we're like a block away from my work, and I'm crossing my fingers, the car's there right now. I'm shaking. I'm so excited. I can't wait. Are you shaking? Oh, damn it. You can go in the parking lot. It's not here. Yeah. Why don't you just be in the parking lot there? You dropped it off. Okay. Good. Okay, so the car's not here, but I think that once the car gets here, I'm gonna text Gibbs and have him come down to film and check out the car. There it is. That's it. The truck. It's in the blueprint.
We need another provider.
What does he drive? I'm so excited. I bet you it'll get here by like 10:15. Let's see. Well, we were gonna wait for the truck, but I don't think it's gonna be here for a while. For sure. Nice. Excited, dude. If you see it, just like hold the e-brake and turn around. Alright, see ya. Thanks for the ride. Oh my god, I wish it was here. Oh well. It should be here in the next hour. See ya. I'm waiting for my car, Tony. Dude. I want to go to Spiderweb. Tony, you know what time it is? It's 8:50 in the morning and I'm here.
That's good. It's a miracle from God.
I'm just here early because I want my car. And I don't know where, I don't see it yet. I'm going to stand by this front door all day long. I'm going to put my desk in front of the front door and just wait for it in the showroom. Just wanted my car. I'm so excited. So what's it drop? I'll talk between 9 and 11. Oh, it's nice and cold in my office. I'm looking out the window every like 2 seconds. Tony. Damn. Isn't that dope? Which one do you like the most? You know like the donut one? I like the donut one. Yeah, that's the best one, isn't it?
That's a big card right here.
Currently in San Clemente. So we're probably looking at another hour and a half. Or hour actually. Just looking at it. 4 days ago I did like a little giveaway contest for a Bugatti hat. 6th gear auto. You're the winner of the hat. Il Padrino. You got 2nd place. Squid.psp, 3rd place. So I'm going to be sending all 3 of you guys, well, 1st place is this Bugatti hat that I've had for a while. It's my personal hat that I've had for maybe 2 years. And 2nd, 3rd place winners get something as a surprise.
Get it right there. You get the paper right there.
Oh, she's here. Can you guess what's happening right now? I'm waiting for my car. I see it. It just pulled up right beyond that sign right there. It's my dream car for 5 years, bro.
Oh, be careful.
Right there. Oh, dude. Holy crap. Yeah.
Niggas finna be mad at me. I'm stealing the fuck out the car. Good shit. Playing against the computer talking about good shit. Thought that was Scottie Pippen the whole time.
This is a 2013 BMW M3, and it's the craziest M3 BMW ever did. You see, when the M3 first came out, it had a 4-cylinder, and then a couple of them had 6 cylinders, and today the M3 has a turbocharged 6-cylinder because of emissions and fuel economy regulations. But for a few glorious years in there, the M3 had a V8. And today, I'm going to review the V8 M3. I borrowed this M3 from a viewer here in Orange County in Southern California, and it really is a special car. But first, a little history. Now, like I mentioned, when the M3 first came out back in the 1980s, it had a 4-cylinder. Then BMW made a 6-cylinder M3, and then another 6-cylinder M3, but then they decided to really take things to the next level, and that meant a V8. So the 2008 M3 debuted with a 4-liter V8 that made about 400 which was a huge increase over its predecessor. It was a crazy time in the car world. The M3 had a V8, sure, but the M5 had a V10, and big, naturally aspirated engines were everywhere. In the M3's case, you could get it with a 6-speed manual or with a dual-clutch automatic transmission, and it was offered as a sedan, a coupe, or a convertible. BMW's internal codename for the sedan was the E90, while the coupe, like this car, was the E92, and that is how most enthusiasts refer to this car today. This M3 is a little bit more special than most, because it's not just an E92 M3 with a V8, but it's also a competition model, which meant different wheels and upgraded suspension and electronics for better handling. This M3 also has a 6-speed manual transmission, which is just cool. An M3 with a naturally aspirated V8 and a manual. So today I'm going to show you around this car, and I'm going to show you what else makes it cool. First, I'm going to take you on a tour of the E92 M3, and I'm going to show you all of its interesting quirks and features. Then I'm going to get it out on the road and drive it, and then I'm going to give it a done score. Alright, I'm going to start the quirks and features of this M3 with getting in, and that means taking a quick look at the key, and that means taking a look at this leather key pouch. The key slides out from this BMW logo in the corner. That is pride of ownership. There's nobody with a Hyundai accent who's got a key pouch like this. And indeed, the owner of this car bought it new back in 2013, never modified, and only has 34,000 miles. This is a fantastic example of an E92 M3. The other interesting thing with this key, and with all BMW keys, there are 3 buttons on the key. The bottom, you have the button that opens the trunk that has a picture of a car with a trunk open. The middle one is the BMW logo. That's the lock button. The top one is an arrow pointing up. That's the unlock button. I'm not sure why BMW ever thought that an upwards pointing arrow was a good image to depict unlocking the car, but they did for all BMWs of this era, so an entire generation of BMW owners knows that to unlock the car, you press the up arrow. And next up, we climb inside the M3. We're immediately faced with a common problem you have in 2-door cars that have back seats, and that is the fact that the doors have to be so long to allow rear passengers to get in. It's hard to reach back and get your seatbelt. But BMW has solved that problem. You get inside the M3, sit down, turn it on, and then there's an automatic electronic seatbelt delivery mechanism that will bring the seatbelt forward so it's closer to you, so it's easier to reach so that you can put it on. And once you put it on, that electronic seatbelt delivery system goes back into its hole, ready and waiting for its next opportunity when you get in the car, so it can deliver you your seatbelt. Kind of interesting. And next up, one of the first things you notice when you get into this car is the fact that it doesn't have leather seats. These also aren't Alcantara. These are cloth seats, just fabric seats inside of a 6-year-old BMW M3 that sold new for over 70 grand. You might be surprised to see those cloth seats. I certainly was, but this is the enthusiast spec. You have cloth seats, you have no sunroof, which helps to lower your center of gravity and lower your overall curb weight, and you have the manual transmission and the competition package. This is the M3 to get if you want to go racing. And next up, since this is an enthusiast car, there are also a lot of enthusiast touches in here. For example, in the center console, there is a power button. You push it for power. If you don't push it, there is no power. So you have to weigh that every time you get into your engine. Next up, another interesting quirk. In the same vicinity of that power button, you have a button that turns off the stability control. But this car came from an era where automakers were really worried about people turning off the stability control and then crashing and suing them. So when you turn it off, you get a warning in the infotainment screen in the center, and you also get 3 separate warnings in the gauge cluster letting you know that your stability control is in fact off. So when you turn it off, 4 individual warnings just to confirm, hey, it's off, it's off, it's off, it's really off. And next up, speaking of controls in this car, the E92 M3, like other BMWs from this era, has these confounding turn signals where you put on the left turn signal to signal left, and then it goes on, but the signal lever pops back to the center. So then you go to turn off the left signal, you push it back down, and it stays on. So then you go to switch on the right turn signal to turn off the left one, and then the right turn signal goes on, and there's no rational or logical or good way to operate these turn signals unless you spend time learning them. BMW tried to use this turn signal design for like a decade before they finally gave it up after oceans of customer complaints. And BMW realized that turn signals were not something that ever really needed to be complicated beyond what we all had already learned. And next up, moving around the interior more, another interesting item in here is the center armrest, which you can see is split into two pieces, but it opens as one piece. You cannot open those two pieces.
It's Chevy Truck Month. It's Deck Building Month. It's Toy Hauling Month. It's Explore New Ground Month. Make it your own and make every month Chevy Truck Month.
Am I limiting my future?
Am I growing my family?
Am I finally done with IVF? Am I pregnant?
There is no more important question. There is no more certain answer. First response detects not one, but all forms of the pregnancy hormone, with a test that gives results 6 days before your longest period. America's most trusted pregnancy test brand. First response is the answer.
Into two. My theory is that BMW did this to prevent arguments. Your passenger can't complain that you're impeding on his elbow room when there is clearly a line in the middle showing who gets what portion of the center armrest. That's a brilliant idea that BMW should integrate into the second and third row of its family SUVs so that parents have like an out-of-bounds line to judge when kids complain that the other one is on their side. Parent can just look back and go, oh, yeah, on your side, sorry, you're over the line, you gotta move back. Brilliant. Now, next up, another interesting item in here is because of this center armrest and because of all the other items here in the center console, you'll see there's no cup holder for the driver, which of course is kind of a problem in a luxury car made in the modern era. But BMW has a remedy. Over on the passenger side of the dashboard, you have two cup holders. On the right, you have the passenger cup holder, which just pops out of the dashboard. Pretty simple, no surprises there. But on the left, you have the driver cup holder. You push it, and then it makes this like arc motion and moves itself into the middle, hanging over the center console for easier reach of the driver. The problem here, of course, is that it's high up and over a bunch of electronics and your shift lever, and so any liquid that drips down will get all those things sticky and maybe even damage them. This cup holder is not really the best solution, but there is a driver cup holder in this car. It just begins its journey on the passenger side. And next up, speaking of the center area and the center control stack, I have to say, this car has a lot of plastic in it. You get into a modern BMW, even a base 3 Series, and it has way less plastic and nicer materials than this car. But this body style came out back in 2008 when this sort of thing was more acceptable. But when you look at it today, you can see it's starting to show its age just based on how much kind of cheap plastic takes the place of all of the center controls in this car. And once again, speaking of the center control stack, this car has a feature in the center control stack that is absolutely confounding to me. And that would be this dial between the center climate vents with a blue and red box on either side. You adjust that dial, and it will determine what temperature of air comes out those center vents. Now, I say this is perplexing to me because right below that, you have 14 buttons, 2 dials, and a screen devoted to your entire climate control system.
I thought about that too.
That center blue and red dial will override all of those buttons. So you can have your entire climate control system, all these buttons and dials set to the warmest possible settings and temperatures, but if you have that little dial moved over to cold, than it is cold air you will get from those center vents. What is the point of all of these climate controls if you can simply override them with a manual dial? I've never understood it. BMW owners think it's brilliant. Everyone else I explain it to thinks it's absolutely bizarre. But regardless, that's what the purpose is of that dial in the middle. And next up, a couple of items I love in this interior. One is on the door panel. You have this rather large door pocket in there, but you can see there's no real way to access it to put stuff in, but it actually opens up so you can put stuff in it and then close it and kind of keep it out of reach or out of sight, which is a really good idea that lets you put kind of whatever you want in there without having to worry about it falling out or rattling around. Something else I love in this car is the fact that the seats have additional thigh support. If you pull this little latch under the very front part of the seats, you can pull that part out and give yourself better support for your thighs, which is nice for tall drivers who may not get that kind of support from the seats in their standard orientation. And next up, we move on to the infotainment system in this car, which is a fairly simple version of iDrive. I actually went through this entire infotainment system, and there's nothing really particularly interesting or noteworthy about it. It's showing its age, but relatively usable. The only thing I found that was slightly quirky is that if you go into the sound settings, there's something called Gong, and if you click on it, this happens.
I'm not even sure this is going to come out because it's such a large surface area. I used 2 cans of
That's the warning chime you hear when you open the door in this car, and it allows you to set that chime at whatever volume you want. I just love that BMW called it Gong. And next up, we move on to another cool aspect of this interior. That's in the glove box, the original window sticker. Like I mentioned, this car is still owned by its original owner, so we preserved this sticker. It's pretty cool. You can see the competition package was only $2,500 extra in 2013.
And then come back in, and I just swept.
That was a bargain. It got you electronic damper control to improve your suspension for better cornering, and you got different 19-inch wheels that allowed you to stand out from the regular M3 owners. One other thing I've always loved about BMW window stickers from this era is that they are printed on a picture of what appears to be a coin. Now, if you actually back out and look at the whole sticker, you can see it's a winding road through a forest, but it's really more forest than road. I never entirely understood, but that's what they went with for this window sticker.
It's basically a wet sand that's down.
Sure. And next up, we move on to the back seat in this car. Like I mentioned, there was a 4-door sedan version of the M3 from this era, but this is not it. And so now I must fly into the back seat. Now to do that, you pull on this little latch at the top of the front seat that holds the backrest forward, and then you press this button and just sort of wait and wait and wait as the seat automatically moves forward. Once you finally have it in this position, then you can just climb on in, as I will do. And when you get back here, what you discover is that BMW does not care about your rear passengers. I say that because of the distinct lack of amenities back here. You look at the center console in back and you see a little storage tray, I guess for a cell phone. And well, that's nice. Now above that, there's a lid, which is probably an ashtray with a cigarette lighter. You open the lid and, well, actually, no, it's another storage area. Well, okay, fine, but below that center storage tray, there's another lid, and surely that must be couples. So you open the lid and discover that, nope, just another storage tray. So you have just 3 separate storage trays back here. Those cigarette lighters, no couple. You do, however, have a center armrest that folds down in the middle, but it's not on a hinge like every other center armrest. Instead, it's only connected with this piece of leather, so it can kind of flop around, and it doesn't really provide you with all that much support, since it could just flop over into the next seat under hard cornering. When you look at all this stuff as a total picture, it becomes pretty clear that BMW's position at the time probably was, if you want people in the back seat of your M3, you buy the sedan. And next up we move on to the outside of the E92 to M3, where there are several interesting quirks and features worth noting. Starting with the wheels, like I mentioned before, the competition models got their own special wheels that were distinct from the regular M3s of this period. These are really popular wheels, and a lot of regular M3 owners get a set of these to put on their M3s, but they came standard on the competition. Next up, another interesting item on the side here is the mirror. If you look at the side mirrors, you can see they have two posts that connect them to the door. But if you look really closely, you can see that the upper post is fake. There's actually a gap there, and that second post is just an effect for style. So what's the reason for that? Why is there that little gap there on that fake second mirror post? It turns out the answer is that when you go to fold in your mirrors, like when you're parked, you can see that in order to fold in as far as possible, it has to detach from that second post. And if they had actually made it have two posts, it wouldn't be able to fold in quite as far. And so that second post is just for style. It's not actually structural, holding the mirror in place. And next up, one other interesting exterior item. I mentioned that this car has no sunroof, and on the outside you can see what replaces the sunroof, and that would be just a full carbon fiber roof panel. If you have a sunroof, that adds weight, but it also raises up your center of gravity because you have a lot of mechanisms and that heavy glass panel near the top of the car. But this car with carbon fiber roof lowers the center of gravity and saves you some weight. And next up, one other exterior detail that I love in this car. I always loved the angel eye. That's what BMW enthusiasts call these little circle headlights that look like halos or indeed angel eyes. I always thought it was a really nice touch, a very distinctive, uniquely BMW item that they used during this period. And next up, we move under the hood, and there you have it. There it is, the V8 in the V8 M3. This is BMW's X65 V8. Like I mentioned, it's a 4-liter engine with about 415 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque. And it's amazing that they ever crammed one into an M3. Now, one thing I like about this car is the hood bulge. But one thing I've learned doing this job is that hood bulges are almost always fake. They're usually put on cars to signify that it's a high-performance version, but they're not actually needed. Well, in this car, it's needed. If you go next to the fender, you can clearly see that this V8 is so big that it sticks up past the body lines in this car. The hood bulge is actually functional in order to accommodate this massive engine. I always love the fact this engine was so big, BMW needs to bulge the hood in order to fit. You rarely see that these days. One other cool item down here, if you look on the underside of the hood itself, you can see that M3 is actually stamped into the underside of the hood on the driver's side and over on the passenger side. That's how you know your car is legit. It breaks down, you open up the hood, you're all upset, but you have a reminder that's free. Actually, I think the benefit there is to make sure that you know that your hood is actually from an M3 and not a regular 3 Series. So either way, it's interesting to see it there. Now, before I move on, I want to say a couple words about reliability. I covered the V10 BMW M5 from this era last year, and I talked about how probably the least reliable modern car. This wasn't as bad, but it wasn't great. The V8 from this car has some similar issues to the V10 from the M5, including the rod bearing problem that can happen basically without warning and destroy the entire engine. So it's a little nerve-wracking to own this car. But otherwise, this car's problems were not as significant as the M5. You didn't have that clunky SMG transmission in this car because the automatic was a much more advanced dual clutch. And you also didn't have that clunky old-school iDrive infotainment system. The iDrive in this car is far more advanced and interchangeable. This car wasn't exactly known for being the most reliable, but it's not as bad as that M5. Still, it wasn't great. And finally, we move on to the trunk of this car. And when you open it up, you can see that it is not even remotely slightly interesting. Just the trunk has normal trunk stuff, about normal trunk size, nothing quirky or special back there. The only slightly interesting thing is that if you look at the top of the tonneau area, you have these little plastic latches. You pull those and it can release the rear seat So you can fold them down and put something larger back here, which is a nice little added bit of practicality. But generally speaking, just a trunk, nothing particularly exciting or interesting. And so those are the quirks and features of the E92 BMW M3. Now it's time to get it out on the road and see how it drives.
Alright, driving the E92 M3. I've driven quite a few E92 M3s, but never really one this nice. These kind of got pretty cheap, and are still getting pretty cheap. And so a lot of them kind of wrecked, used cars, not well maintained. This one is in really, really excellent shape. It's important, I think, to explain the impact of this car. The M3 before this one, E46, had 333 horsepower. Then this thing shows up with 414. It goes up to 81. Now, the current M4, the one that just is out of production, had 425. The one went by